Bro, what did you think of Survivor?
Yeah, man.
Overall?
And I like to do because I have a bunch of questions I want to send you, right? Like that
Yeah,
I
we
want
need
to
to do
do a
that.
dedicated, like next time we record, I want to do a dedicated kind of outlook on it, right?
Yeah.
Because obviously I think the first thing you want to do is it's the easiest one. It's like, okay, what do you think about Survivor versus Fallen Order, right?
Yeah.
Right. Like, you get into that. And I don't want to I'm still need
Yeah,
to
you
think
know
about
what?
that.
Yeah, we're gonna have to
I
do it
still need to
separate.
think about that one. But just like
Let's do it separate.
overview, I had a wonderful time playing Survivor. One of the things that like I have to get out is that like it was easier for me only from the standpoint of I had just finished Fallen Order. So like I was in rhythm. So like even the whole like, I'm sure for you when you first play, you had to remember like, oh shit, these are my skills, right? I'm
Yeah,
sure you had to do like a refresher in your mind, like,
absolutely.
especially when you first come on Coruscant and you're like, okay, hold on. Let me
Oh
get back
yeah.
to these skills that I needed
Oh
to
shit, I
like,
got a parry. Like, wait a minute,
yeah,
hold on.
what is that move? What is this? The only honestly, bro. And before we get into like the full for real conversation, I think we should do a dedicated video for it because I have 1,000 questions, bro. If you don't know the questions I got for you, I got 1,000 of them for you.
Yeah, we definitely
Up
got
until the point about just lore, right? In terms of like, what does it mean for Star Wars in general? The only negative thing I got, the I won't say only, the first negative thing I got about it is I just wish there were more worlds. I just knew he was gonna be on Coruscant a little bit more.
Man, that's a good
And the
point,
fact,
bro.
like, not being on court, because it kind of just like I was hopping
That
back
is a
from
good point.
going from Cabot to Shattered Moon to going back to Cabot to going back to Shattered Moon to go. And I'm not saying that Fallen Order didn't do that. I just thought that was going to be expanded a little bit.
Man,
It was really only like 3 situations. Like Coruscant didn't matter.
that's
The
a good
first
point.
one, and like I know it's like I only went to Coruscant once, but I was already like 80, 90%. Like if I turn on the game now, I'm 80, 90% done with Coruscant. And I just knew I was gonna be on Coruscant. Like more, like from the trailers, that was gonna be more part of the game. It really was just the beginning of the game. So that would be my negative if I had to like.
Yeah.
I wish there were more
I'm
worlds,
with you. I'm with you.
even from that time period. Like,
yeah,
I wouldn't have been salty if I went to Tatooine. Like, I know it's Tatooine, but like, throw that in there. Like, maybe think that might happen, and let me
that's
go
a
to
good
some
point,
things that
man.
might be popping at this time.
Because the only real like world that you actually can explore is Kobo. Kobo is like dense. It's got different levels, different set. Like it's the biggest part of the game.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I always thought they did that because it was like limitations, right? Like when you go back to Fallen Order, the same way. Don't take that. It ain't that many planets. It's like 3 worlds.
Yeah.
And I always looked at that as like, oh, okay. Yeah, I always thought it was from a limitation standpoint.
Kashyyyk was light. It
She
was
was
like
like,
Dathomir.
yeah.
It was I can't remember. I'm not gonna go through that. But yeah, it was only
like
it was
3
like
worlds.
4, but it was only like 3 that mattered for real.
So I always looked at that as like, all right, this is this was kind of like a underdog game. You know what I mean? When they first made it, people ain't really see it coming. And they ain't had that much. Like EA ain't give them that much money. You know what I mean, to make this. So yeah, they kind of had to be limited to 3 worlds. So when we came into this one, I'm like, oh damn, it's kind of the same thing. Like it's not that many worlds now. These are way bigger. And you do get a few more planets and locations. But yeah, I agree with that. Like you said, we're gonna do a dedicated video on it. But I would agree that was one of my knocks as well. Like I literally had that on the list. Like, yeah, we still feel like we in the neighborhood instead of a galaxy. Like I feel like I'm just like, that's always a complaint about Star Wars from different people. Is like they make the galaxy seem too small sometimes.
You just in the corner, just in the corner of it, and then like one of the things, and we can get into like the whole George Lucas of it all, and we can, I'll bring this up. Like one of the things, not George Lucas, but like just the world he built in the beginning. Before, I guess we can even go with the trilogy, right? I don't want to go into I'm not going to do some sequel trilogy. Just let's go with the original trilogy, and then the prequel trilogy. It's the worlds that are between Hoth and Tatooine and Coruscant and Camino and things like that. but there were a lot of space. I know they got Rogue Squadron and all this and all that, but they got this dope ship, and I would have hoped in this one that we really get to make more of that. Like we out in space making it happen. I know there's a Jedi. We want to get busy. And its hand, the stances, the hands, everything involved with that was so incredible because that would have been my knock about the first one versus the second one. It was like, yo, I'm limited in what I can do in a battle, in a fight.
Yeah.
Right. And but that would make sense that he got better as a Jedi. And in the world he lived in, he would use different things. And like he was a scrapper. So there are different things he would use in his fight. And they definitely stepped it up. And then from the crossbar to the dual things, and then the things he can do in a battle, the way he would run a wall, the way you had to figure out, because there was a lot of puzzles in trying to figure out how I would get from point A to point B just from a jumping standpoint. Right, you had to figure that shit out, right? Like, and we all figured it out together because, like, it's one thing to be like, I'm gonna play the game a year or 2 years after it, like I did with Fallen Order. I could just go on YouTube and like, I'm not figuring this out, so let me go to YouTube so I don't waste my time because I want to talk about it with you. But for this one, it wasn't there, right? People didn't have that stuff up when I turn into Syrah, right? And I have to figure out how can I get when I need to take down those walkers, but I'm stuck on the side. Like, how do I get up top? I keep sliding, right? Every time I jump on the dirt, I'm sliding. Oh, I need to hop on these little platforms, and the platforms allow me to double jump. And then once I double jump, I get to the top. Like, you got to figure that. Like, I didn't have to go through that for Fallen Order because I watched a bunch of videos, right? So like those things were dope. I just wish that if I had one thing about Fallen Order, about Survivor, especially from the trailer, is that I would have, even with, I don't know why I'm fascinated with, you know me, man. I tell you this, I'm fascinated with Coruscant. I kind of wish I would have
my favorite planet
to do more with Coruscant than I did, than the game provided, and that was only based on the trailers. That was only based on like, are we going back to Coruscant, and we start off at Coruscant? Oh, we about to get busy. That would have been the negative I had. But altogether, I'm going to chill for a minute. I know I'm going to play again, but like I'm going to chill for a minute because I got to play them on a higher level. I want to play it on the top level.
That might have been a mistake I made, right?
No, you played on the top level?
I started on the top. I finished the whole thing in Grandmaster.
Ooh, you a bad man because I definitely didn't.
Yeah, I played doing Grandmaster, and now, but looking back, you're right, man. It's probably better to take the approach of like to have something to look forward to be like, all right, let me play through the game first, and that's why it took me, a little bit longer to finish it because I'm playing on Grandmaster, and the thing about Grandmaster is you die easily. You know what I mean? But it was dope because it put me in like the it reminds me of a Souls game, like a Dark Souls, Bloodborne, Elden Ring, and all that shit. Like those type of games where you like man, you gotta really learn how to play because you like, man, if I get hit, I'm gonna die. Like if I don't parry, I'm gonna die. If I don't get out of the way, I'm gonna die. You know what I mean? On top of, like you said, the puzzles and all that stuff, it's kind of like, damn. But and that kind of like, that's kind of like a knock on the game for me is like, it's kind of cheap sometimes. What I mean by that is like, damn, like an animal can take you out. Like the little chicken bird things, whatever they are, they like ram you.
They nasty too. They because they always because you know what's funny about them is they don't turn red to the last minute. So you set up about to cook them like, you about to catch this blade, boy. What they call a space sword. You about to catch this blade, and then all of a sudden, in mid jump, they turn red. Before I ask you what you think, there was the one thing I think, because we talked about this last time, we talked about the High Republic, and I'm glad what the game did, because if it would have just been that, like Blue Dude didn't matter.
Nah, fam. Nah.
But up until the point where you and I talked the last, Blue Dude mattered.
Yeah.
The flip to bowl turned the game up because I was like, I just knocked out Blue Dude. He ain't nothing, right?
Yeah.
And remember I sent you text like, hey man, this is true. And maybe they did that on purpose. I'm like, it don't matter when I'm fighting with the Mirren, I'm nice with it.
Yeah.
When I'm fighting with dude, it's Tridash. Like he don't give me, and he do a little, even when he's shooting his trap.
I was thinking that too. Like, man, was he sandbagging? Like,
was he holding off?
What they call it, shadow bagging? Like, man,
was he
like,
holding off? Because
pulling his punches.
When I had to work with him, it was like that moment when it flipped. And I want to do a dedicated Jedi Survivor kind of conversation because it deserves that. But when it flipped, right? Because we all knew.
We knew.
And it's just not me and you.
It wasn't a matter of if it was when.
Like, dude foul, right? But we didn't know the extent that he was going to be fouled. How up the chain. I just figured he was like going to play me. He seemed scat from the jump.
Scoundrel is what you thought he was.
Something like that. I didn't think he was going to be like a former Force user Jedi kind of dude, right? With his own situation. Yeah, he was like, you want to talk about a survivor? He was the one, right? That's a line. That's a bar right there. But like when it flipped,
damn,
and I'm salty that I'll never get that feeling again because again, and correct, like pardon me when I say this, I'm not comparing it. Order 66 is his own thing, and they could do a bunch of things in order, and they've done a bunch of things with Order 66. And every time Filoni bring it back, because George only did it once, Filoni always bring it back. Right. Yeah. And then Fallen Order brought it back. But like every time he bring it back, I'm like, damn, that's a whole nother angle that's incredible. That like it's a heart race and you know the outcome. But the shit when it flipped in this game, right? That you lose, even though like you fighting the guy and he chokes you out, and then you trying to reach for the saber and you lose, and then you wake up and you sear that whole like you could feel the scatteredness that they have, and it reminds me like I'm an Order 60. It's like second to Order 66, right? Where it's like the scatteredness that they have, and you like, yo, shit is bad. Like is Cal dead, and I gotta be Cira, and I never fought with Cira. What do I gotta do? And like they the Empire here, and we got the Vader show, and he just show up quick and he in and out. But it's like that was a great sequence because if that doesn't happen, then it's just like, well, this is kind of they want to get the Tanalore, this guy, and whatever. We gotta beat a older kind of. We talked about that. You brought that up. It's like we got to beat this whatever that creature was that was Raven or Rat, whatever the name was. Rat, it wasn't Raven, but like the guy to start with an R, the guy that's older.
Ravis,
and it's like okay, we beating them and like we fight like those kind of things that were happening. It was like cool, okay, but it was when that moment happened. I'm like even though like the ending might not have been as satisfying, like it was that moment. I don't think the ending matched.
No,
I'm not trying to hate, but
the
I don't
game
think
did not peak at the
of it.
Yeah, it peaked at that moment.
It ended with me like if they didn't do another fall, if they ended in a Fallen Order and they didn't make another movie, I get it. I'm no movie because they what it turns into, right? It turns into some TV show. But like if they didn't make anything else after Fallen Order, if Cal's story ended, and then all of a sudden he just pop up in one of these TV shows, and like we get Cal, it makes so much sense. Right, like okay, cool. They don't got no little video game, but with Survivor, the way it ended lets me know there's gonna be another game.
Yeah,
right.
He's gonna be a game character,
and that story got to end in the game, which we talked, which is part of the conversation I want to have next. But like that moment where you become Syrian and you ultimately become Cal again.
Yeah,
but that moment, that's the game. That's the game right there.
Facts.
That's the game. And my heart was racing, and I'm salty that I'll never get that back again. But I'm glad I got it. I'm glad I got that without it being spoiled.
Exactly. Oh man,
that's Star Wars for me, bro.
Now, that's a good point. I got the Darth Vader part spoiled for me.
It was funny. I got the Boba. I didn't get Darth Stove. I got Boba. So when I kept texting you about like, oh man, it's nasty out here with the leaks.
See, I thought you was talking about. I thought they got you with the Darth. The Boba I didn't get till later.
I got Boba spoiled.
Man, that's my.
I didn't actually go to that part in the game because I was like, there's so many side missions and rumors and shit. I just want to finish the game, so I'll get back to the Boba part. But I saw that online, and I didn't get Darth spoiled. Darth got me. He got me.
Yeah, that was.
Because we had just talked about it our last recording. Like Darth Vader got to start coming seeing people.
Yeah,
and maybe when I was saying that, you already knew.
I did,
but I didn't know.
I
was like,
try not to spoil it.
Yeah. Maybe when I was spoiled, maybe he's like, oh, he got spoiled by the same thing I got spoiled by. But I was like, Vader got to. This the time Vader's seeing people. Yeah. Vader got to come see them. He can't make it to the. He can't. Cal can't make it past original trilogy, and he can't make it to the trilogy. Vader got to come see people, and maybe I was like, he wasn't got spoiled, but I didn't know that happened.
Yeah, no, I probably just got past it. I had just got past the Vader part, man. But nah, bro, that was that whole sequence, man.
Was fun, man. Oh, that sequence was dope,
man. Running through all them stormtroopers, man, unleashing it. That was. I know you say you never played it before, but it's a game called The Force Unleashed. The Force Unleashed, man. That it was like that, bro.
I start playing some Star Wars.
It was almost like that was Respawn's nod to that game. You know what I mean? That game, that first game.
Wasn't that Star Killer?
That was Star Killer, the original. Okay. That was the guy who did the voice of Darth Maul.
That was really Sam, right?
Yeah, that was it. Oh, he been outside, man.
He been outside, boy.
Yeah, he been
outside, man.
And he know his shit too. Like
I've seen some clips on that.
Oh yeah,
because I think they based like that. Even that scene with and Andor when what was the Deirdre when she show up back on that back on the main planet. What was that? Bricks Road. What was that planet? God, Andor was dope. Yeah, that planet when she showed up in her ship. I think that same scene was in Force Unleashed. That's the only point I'm trying to make. I ain't trying to go too deep. Like the way she showed up on that planet, but it might have been like for Return of the Jedi as well when Vader showed up back on when he showed up on Endor and picked up Luke.
Yeah.
So I might edit this but you get my point. Like there's a lot of this that game has been have influenced media and things of that. And you're saying like that part of it might have been a nod.
Yeah, just imagine an entire game like that. Just take that sequence of her just mowing through all these stormtroopers, taking down AT walkers, all that, man. That was pretty much the Force Unleashed. You know what I mean? It's just you just like super powerful with the Force. You could take down a TIE fighter. Like it was wild, but it was fun as hell, man. It was like it was hack and slash. It wasn't as the lightsaber the lightsaber dueling wasn't as like
she wasn't as nice as Cal was. She didn't have that ability.
Nah.
And it was a little adjustment when she started going at it then versus like what Cal
she was like full power, I felt like. You know what I mean? Like
she was way more force.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to cut you. I'm gonna let you finish. I'll let you finish because you might make the point. I don't want to steal your point that I'm about to make. But you might make the point first. But she wasn't as nice with the stances.
Yeah,
Cal, because it was definitely an adjustment.
Yeah,
but it was like on the fly. Like next time I might play, I might be like, okay, I got it because I know this is happening. But I didn't know that was happening. I was on that speedster. I was going. Oh, that shit was fun, man. That shit was fun. And it was like, I'm sure like other games do it better, but for Star Wars, I'm saying for Star Wars, it was fun because I didn't know that was happening. Like, I got to catch it. Like, this dude really just shot down. And it was like really dope. And I really want to do a whole video on that. But it was really dope because like we talked about that. We can't have, because even with Cal showing back up, right? Smart people run the world, right? Let's just keep this a buck, like in life. Like you could be a warrior, you could be this, but it's smart people. Intelligence is what runs the world beyond money, right? Outside of money being number one factor. And then intelligence is the second factor in terms of like leadership.
Right.
But like you can't have like Cyril at what she became at the end, not what she was in Fallen Order, but what she was in Survivor. And what's my man Corva? What was his name? Started with a C.
Damn.
You know what I'm talking about, though. Corva.
Endo Corva.
Endo. Let's just call him. You can't have him. You can't have him and her because they could build. There were two people who can build a Jedi Order because they beyond like the lightsaber fighting. And those kind of people can't be around.
No, they had to die.
In terms of like the timeline. You would love if they were around because they could have helped Luke out. They could have helped when we get to, but in terms of like what's already established, and we already know A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi happens, there's no way they could be alive. to show Luke some stuff.
Absolutely.
They can't be around. So yeah, they had to go. I just didn't know they was gonna go out that way. But I thought about that when it happened. Like we just talked about that. You had already played that part.
It was abrupt, man, when playing it through for the first time, man. Because you sitting there, because it's very much formulaic in the sense where it's
it really is.
But it's I'm saying up until that point
up until that point
it's very formulaic. It's just a game because you just like, oh, okay. Because it's like when we talk about this with the Mando all the time and watch so much like a video game. It's like, all right, get this because you need to, because we got to unlock this. All right, get this key because we got to. All right, we need to move this here.
Absolutely.
So go fetch this. So you on these quests. So when you get that last little piece and you take it back to Endo like, this can be repaired. You thinking like, all right, here we go. Now at this point, I'm thinking like, you're right. Like we done killed Blueface. We done killed Blueface. You know what I mean? He gone. Like we done with him. So you like,
whoa, Blueface bum ass.
In my mind, I'm already like, well, it's the Empire that we got to deal with now. Because I always was thinking that, like, hey man, when we gonna start dealing with the Empire again, bro? Like we kind of like on the,
because we wasn't messing with the Empire. I mean, we had a couple stormtroopers. We was getting busy, but it wasn't Empire. It was more like some dudes around. Like it was like remnants of the Empire.
Yeah, after that first mission, you don't really deal with the Empire no more. You don't deal with no Inquisitors. I passed Coruscant. So you kind of just like, I'm just like, all right, because you just don't know what's happening, what's gonna come next after you take out Blueface dude. So you like, all right, here we go.
I tried to hit somebody with a Blueface and they didn't get my point. I was like, yo, my man, I got what he was saying. You dude was Blueface. Dude had a wrinkle. He had like a stretch mark beard or something. Like I don't know what he had going on. He was in the water too long.
Yeah, but like I was saying, man. I'm like, all right, it got to be the Empire. So I'm like, all right, who gonna be this? There's got to be a new Inquisitor. Somebody gonna pop up, man. When you turn around, man, he got the gun, he got the blaster on Endo, and you like, hey, hold on, man. You like, cause you don't kind of forgot about, that he a damn rat, but you forgot, like, oh man, hold on, I forgot, damn. All right, so this is where he turned. She's like, I knew this motherfucker. And they say the Empire's on the way and the alarms is going off. You like, oh man, here we go. And then you start chasing him. You get in the fight with him. You lose. You get up to the end of the fight and he like, you don't know the half of it. He pull out the lightsaber. You like, oh man, he's a Jedi. That was the turn, man.
And it was moving so fast.
Oh, it was moving super fast. The pace was out of control. Come back, you see her, man. You're right, man. That was
the game.
That's the game, man.
That's the game right there. Because if you would have asked me up until that point, it's always brush off lines. And mind you, I'm probably more of I don't know what happened, but I'm probably more of an apologist when it comes to Star Wars. It'll take me to the end before I tell you that Mando season 3 wasn't as good as Mando season 1. It definitely wasn't as good as Mando season 2. But I was shooting at bail. Am I not saying nothing probably negative until we get to the end of it? And it was like, okay, now we can talk about it. I'm gonna go ahead and say what needs to be said for me, right? And then when you asked me about when we last talked about the game, I hadn't got to that part yet. So I'd have been like, yeah, it was good. It was a nice addition to the Pantheon, but it's really more formulaic. I probably have more troubles with stuff that happens before the final boss than when I get to the final boss, right? Like I had more problems with the animals, and then even like some of those little because they wasn't Empire. What was the other dudes that had the droid? The droids is Tridash, but like, and they evolved. I'm not trying to shit.
You're talking about the Raiders.
The Raiders, the Bethlehem Rangers, right? Well, like some of the ones that like
Axiom Brood or whatever.
Not the early ones, but like you'll get the one that had like a pitchfork and like he just be dolo. Not the ones where it's like be two of them.
Yeah.
He just be dolo. Like you remember when you finally got the power. What was those orange little platform things where you can kind of like L2 platform this PlayStation? You can L2 cable snag to them, and then like if you hold, I think you could. It was L. Then if you hold the R2 button before you release, then you can kind of fly. Before you got to that part, like you had to try to like get it open so that you can finally get to the point where you fought Raven. I forget what play. I think that was still on Shattered Moon, but you had to like jump and then you had to like, I wish I had the screen up. I'll post the pictures. But like that point where you finally can use those orange things to use as like, you can hop on them to get to next levels of situations. And then you fall Raven. You got to the point where you fall Ravens. That whole thing. But like you would like once you got to the second platform and that guy with that pitchfork and it'd be just that one person on the like I'd have knocked off everybody on the first floor with ease, and it's like 8 of them.
Yeah.
Man. I always had a problem with those ones before the final boss, right? But at some point, it was like, okay, go back. The only other like it was, I was like, go back. It was really formulated, like the outliers and the things I would bring up in terms of like shit that was happening, like when Mira showed up and she opened up that whole sequence where I had to jump through like her little portal she kept opening up. I'm like, this dope AF, right? Like when I'm having to fly through those and get through those, like she bringing that noise, that she bringing an element to the game that wasn't available before, and like this is something else. Like so those dynamics, but most of the stuff was formulaic, right? Fight the final boss. Okay, then I go back to a planet, come back. Okay, cool. I expect it's not really pushing the story forward.
Right.
But once one man had the force and he pulled out the lightsaber.
Oh man.
And I did not see that coming. I knew he was gonna play. He was gonna play me. I could see it. Like he looks sus as fuck. But once he was a Jedi, and even though, like I say, the ending is the ending, but like that part right there. That's when I can come back to you right now. Come back to you right now and being like, oh, that was the game. And when his story and all that shit, this, that, and the third, and having to get to the point, like when I had to go back, when I had to go to that, that felt like that was a regular planet. When I had to go back to the Empire base and like fight all those K2, the shit that was in Rogue One, my man K2 was one, my K21 or whatever, K2 whatever his name is.
Yeah.
That I'm looking forward to an Andor, and I'm fighting all them, and I'm fighting all the, and then I can make people like fight each other. Yeah. And like once I'm having to do all that, I'm having to finagle all that shit. And you know the stormtroopers that gave me the most problems. I mean, I could beat them, but like those dudes the ones that can fly. They can fly now.
Oh, they annoying us.
They can fly.
They flying out. They flying now.
Shit, they had Boyega mad. Like, man, they've been flying since the Clone Wars, man. Those dudes, that was a nice addition. That was a nice addition. But you can get them. But like that whole shit when I need to get it, and I talk to his daughter, I'm like, God, man, this is a freaking movie right here. So I'm not trying to slurp it too much, but that was the game for me. That was the game right there. Everything else was just like, it was a nice addition to the Jedi Fallen Order, whatever we want to call it.
It was a very much worthy sequel, right?
Yeah, it was a nice addition. That part right there was like, okay, this is why I would want to play the third game, and I hope he died, but like gracefully, right. This is why I would want to play the third game. But I got so many questions. Again, I want to do it dedicated. I want to prepare you right for all the questions I got.
Yeah, we'll come back.
And I'm also glad they didn't do. I like what they're doing, right? Because they're adding the lore, they're adding the story. Honestly, hopefully he passes away so that this is not another situation that impacts. Like, man, we doing this again with because we still got to reconcile Ahsoka, right? Like, I love Ahsoka, man, but we have to reconcile what was she doing the entire time, right?
It's so many,
we got to reconcile that. We can't do that with Cal because Cal's nasty. He can't be either because Cal could easily go to the dark side.
Yeah, Cal could be a problem.
Did you use the dark side? Like Cal could easily go to the dark side, right? So but he can't be part of the dark side because he would be nasty in A New Hope. He'd be disgusted in Empire Strikes Back.
He can't be around. He has to be gone.
He got to be gone.
He can't be around 10 years from where he at now.
He's a weapon.
Yeah, he's too side.
Dangerous. He's dangerous. He's a dangerous Jedi. He's a dangerous if he was on the dark side. That's why we don't have Inquisitors. They all get up out of here, right?
Yeah.
He would be dangerous on either side. Like he's like think about it, a force using bounty hunter, right? That's what he would ultimately become.
Yeah.
And like on either side, right? Good or bad. That's because he's a good bounty hunter now. Like that's what my man my guy, that now when you start looking at his death, you like, y'all really did that to Saul? Y'all really did that to Saul? Like Saul was that dude in the rebellion, right? That's a whole nother conversation. Again,
they played him.
So it's like when you start looking at Rogue One, you're like,
but Star Wars question real quick. My bad, I didn't mean to cut you.
Good.
But did we see Saul? Did we see Saul die? Like I know he'd be dead, but did we see him die?
Look at Star Wars question, though. But that's a Star Wars question. If I don't see you die, did you die?
And this Saul, man, it's a crafty dude. He got ways out of situations.
It was just
I know the planet got hit with a Death Star beam, but the planet didn't get destroyed.
That was the first one. Like, how do we know they actually? Because we saw in A New Hope, it blew up the planet. My boy Obi was like, I just felt I don't want to do this because it's a powerful line.
It's as if 1,000 voices had off in silence all at once.
He didn't say that. He didn't say that when Scarif got blew. When Scarif City got blew up. He didn't say that when Jeddah got what it got.
Jeddah's still around somewhere.
That and they just like they blew up the city. It wasn't like they blew up the planet.
I'm saying like, hey,
they was just testing it out.
You know, Saul might be, but I don't know. He probably gone. But Star Wars, you never know.
Shmi told Anakin that no one's ever really gone. And she said that in the Mortis.
Oh, she did say that.
She said that.
She did say that.
But it's like a Star Wars line because you look up and be like, damn, Saul. But when you look at the way it ended up happening, like through this time period, Saul was the only one putting in work, and he had a Jedi on the payroll, right? But at the end of the day, he was a glorified Force using bounty hunter, right?
Yeah,
with a lifesaver.
In the game, right? They got bounty hunter missions. You know,
yeah.
That's how you meet Boba. You got to complete all the missions.
Like you can't have Cal running around. We talked about that, like because he's too dangerous on either side. We seen what Obi did with Ezra.
Yeah, see,
right, bringing the rebels. Like you're not supposed to. We say you're in the wrong place, Ezra Bridger. Right, he just used the Force to learn his name. Like you're in the wrong place. Cal was way more dangerous than Ezra was.
I'm with you, man.
He's dangerous, bro. He's a weapon.
He's a liability at this point because, and this is why I'm with you. I'm with you on the death angle, right? About why I say die instead of just being a Tanalor, because the reason I don't even really want to, like, I hope they don't really fall down this Tanalor hole, pause, is you don't want to get to a point where you start just stashing people away in Tanalor. Yeah, I know it's 100%. Supposed to be this place where y'all gonna hide people from the Empire. But I don't like the idea of 5 years or 2 years after the war is over, y'all done stashed 80 Jedi and 300 people who didn't fight in the war. Like, don't come out of Tanalor with a bunch of Jedis now. Like, or don't tell me that it's a bunch of Jedi training in Tanalor while Luke's sitting here trying to figure out how he's gonna start the academy again with Ahsoka.
It was a stupid thing that you're right, 100%. Like it was a stupid thing that when you really thinking of nobody, I mean, I said stupid, like that was an aggressive way of saying it. It was really a silly thing that the Supergirl show did. They had this fake kind of like side Krypton island planet where some people had survived, and it was like we could just go there. There was
in the comic books. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, it's a city. It's like a city.
Okay, so thank you for clearing that up because I was about to go on a rant.
My bad.
But it was like no. But I'm glad you said that because like it was a silly thing for the show to do for me at the time. So I'm glad you said that because you watch it and it's like, well, they could just go to this. That's what I feel like what Tanalor would be. They could use that at any time, just pull anybody out, right?
Yeah, don't do that.
And you think about for that time period, it's not like well, what's the planet, my man? You dirtbag. What was the Grief Karga, right? The what's the planet? What's the planet?
Got your buck dust breathing now.
That's a damn good line. What's the planet Navarro? Right. It's 1,000 people. It was already a community. So when they started cleaning it up and building it, even though it was kind of fast, it makes sense, right? I don't really think they really like about time they got to.
That's a good point.
So like it was a bunch of people. So it's like with Tanalor, they got nothing.
Now they do have like what remains of the old temple. Like they got but those are like ruins at this point.
So okay. I haven't traveled. That's a good point because I haven't. I got there and I was done. Like I just
there's stuff in there. It's like
okay.
Temple.
See, that's 2 times you saved me from sounding like an asshole. Like like I don't know what I'm talking about because I haven't moved around. Because it's like no, you got to build facilities. You got to build this. You got to build that. But one of the things about that I think they do good with Cal and I think with Jedi altogether, right? And it's kind of like the downfall when it comes to like building an order in terms of like rebuild and then like not falling for the gas that the Empire, especially if anybody especially at this time. I don't know about, let's not get into like after the sequel trilogy. Let's say like up until Luke, because that's the problem we always going to have with The Last Jedi and Luke is that Luke was different.
Yeah.
Right. Luke had a soul. So I don't want to turn into that. But let's say everything up until New Hope, where you can always get over in the Jedi, and that there were people around Lord Darth Sidious or Palpatine, Anakin, even though he's Vader now. They know, like, and then the Inquisitors, they know that the Jedi always gonna fall for the gas because no matter what's going on, they always want to help people.
Yeah,
which is going to be Cal's downfall. It has to be. We saw with Ahsoka, even when they did she needed bail. And again, that messes up the timeline, and we're gonna have to reconcile that. We gonna go with it, but you and I are gonna do this recording. Like, thank you, Filoni. But that's some bullshit. Why Ahsoka was still around? Like, I know she got pulled and shit, but she got pulled before New Hope. You mean to tell me she wouldn't have been in Andor? Not Andor. Endor. She wouldn't have been trying to fight the Death Star. She already knew Vader was Anakin, and she still didn't show up. Like, he gonna tell us, and we gonna go with it, but we can still put holes in it, right? But when we look at Cal and what they know, like they showed us in Obi, and this is the same time. This game is the same time period as Obi, the Obi show. And they showed us with that one Jedi that when they when Shorty threw the knife at the regular civilian's head, and that Jedi stopped the knife from taking him out, like that butcher's knife. That the Jedi always gonna have a weak spot for that kind of stuff. That the Jedi, that's why he couldn't see Bo. Bo tried to talk him out. Hey man, if you want to go, we can all just go, man. Let's not try to. Hey, you go get Mirren. You see them cheeks? Look at them cakes. He tried to tell. Look at the cakes.
He's trying to tell him,
yo, chill. Get them cakes. We don't have to do nothing. Let's just go and chill. All of us just go up there. No, I got to go do this. You know what? You're going to do that, you a problem. We can all go, and then nobody will know. But if you feel like you got a mission to end,
great point.
I got it. Okay. He tried to give him like a bailout. That's the Jedi.
Always fall for the gas. That is
always
a great way to put it.
And I feel like they still set it up. So like Cal, I feel like the end of his story is him sacrificing himself for the gas. And even with the little girl, we don't know if we got to assume she's a Force user, but like everybody, like that's what you got to do, because what you can't do is have people like that available later, because these people right here are weapons. I don't care if it's Mira. I don't care if it's Cal. I don't care if it ultimately be her daddy would have got killed. And then she see the people that's running with her, like Grease, G-Easy, G-Money, whatever they call him G-Easy in the game. Greasy. They call him Greasy. They call Mirror, or if it's Mirren, or if it's Cal. They all are weapons, bro. And my bad, I'm going long. I can talk about this shit all day. But like,
I'm with you.
But
yeah, I got.
In terms of like when it come to games, you got to, like Star Wars games, you got to talk about the story more than just like the game.
Damn, that is,
in my opinion. And then what do we think, man? Because like the easiest trap is, hey, Cal got to show up. Like, we gonna sit there and I'm gonna have a stank face, right? Like, but it's like, damn, that's Cal, right? And if he's slashing shit, because Cal get bodies, man.
Hey, man,
Cal
mercilessly,
bodies, man.
Bro.
He's
taking off arms, limbs.
I could do this all day, bro. But I'm gonna let you go before I talk another half an hour.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Appreciate the time, bro.
Nah, absolutely, man. Appreciate it, man.
All right, man.
All right, bro.